the Forgotten City. Le he puesto a seguir a esta vieja. Así que pues seguimos. A ver.
All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N, as in Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
Stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm afraid so. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward... It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they did. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld. And why, I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions. That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where... But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they... Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or each of them is slightly different. Whether the story... But they always involved the souls of the dead, meeting a grim ferry... It was said that he'd helped the new arrival cross. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited...
Ojo, ay, ¿por qué no reconociste?
To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he... You say you saw a young woman named... And I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress. And Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kamut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort. And I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if... Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always record... But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal be? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us...
Nosotros no.
No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help.
No sé por ti. Vale, pues.
Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the... Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have 2 options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide. It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed and even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention. Shh! Is everyone so blunt where you're from? That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he was a demi.
De hecho, Hércules no podía manipular el tiempo ni convertir la materia en
that you can? I won't pretend to understand exactly what that means, but if that's true, then perhaps you... So, if you want to confront him, who knows? Perhaps your name will be... But first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who, and for that, you'll need to enter the Great Temple. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even... I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it. I'm not sure if you... It looks as though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them, and in doing so, if you could recover and replace all 4 of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again.
Permítame. Ahí está.
It's the towering stone monument with 4 sides and a pyramid-shaped head that's... You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from Egypt many... However, this one is unusual in that each of the 4 sides is decorated in a different style. That means you'll need to recover 4 different plaques. Roman.
¿Dónde encontrar la placa romana?
To answer that, we first need to ask. It would have had the god's name engraved into it. And there's a...
Y pendejo, hablaron de la secta y yo lo salté todo.
Good question. To answer that,
preguntarnos quién estropeó el obelisco. Que tenía el nombre ahí grabado, así que el nombre caerá en el olvido. Hay un grupo de personas dispuestas a hacer eso. La secta romana que argumenta que solo existe un Dios verdadero, el suyo, por supuesto. La han provocado en San Luis y que el mundo que se llama por su existencia, afectaba sus creencias. Ayudaría a buscarlos, pero claro, yo también siento desde el cielo para decir que no será fácil encontrarlos. No obstante, he escuchado rumor de que hay un santuario secreto en algún lugar de la ciudad. Ya si consigues encontrarnos puedes recuperar la placa romana. No sé, igual debes comenzar por buscar con ese griego. Luego su tienda en el foro. La placa egipcia.
Our Egyptian resident would be able to tell us. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern. So, perhaps you could talk to her. I'm afraid you're on your own with that one. But perhaps finding... As I mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds. So they should be taken with a grain of salt. First, Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her in...
Entonces puede que esté dispuesta a perjudicarlo, a ayudarnos.
If the stories are true, then I suppose so. The problem is, How do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels?
Okay. De hecho, es cierto.
Truly? And you're only bringing this up now? Then again, I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice? What kinds of thing does it say? Fascinating. Perhaps she's a benevolent spirit. Or perhaps... Perhaps you're hearing the voice of Proserpina herself. If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out? That is strange. There are no rivers here. Let me think on that. Well, as far as I can tell, water flows into the city from an aqueduct into one of two cisterns, the upper cistern. If that's the current she's talking about, then perhaps you need to get into the upper cistern somehow. I vaguely recall wondering what was in there, but the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate, but if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there.
Okay.
All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as possible. As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret all this time. Perhaps it would comfort her to know she's not alone.
Que no está sola.
In any case, time is of the essence. May Fortuna guide you.
Que nada, sí, güey, como si estuviera caminando. Cargando. Vas a hablar con Livia. Espérate, ¿dónde se fue esta vieja? Es cierto que le quería decir que acelerar las elecciones.
Orve again. Did... Sir. May Fortuna guide...
Hablamos con Livia.
Salve.
Marcha con nada más.
Citizen.
Ahí está.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, So this place accepts all the
Básicamente aquí no puedo hacer
souls,
nada
but
sin...
it does not notice the crowds that come.
sin otras misiones.
Say it. Then it is. I thought I saw it, but when I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it? I will do my best to remember the relic. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives. And still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
De nada. Una caja de Pandora.
Handsome. Oh, you're here. Oh, I see. This. Not for. The one word. All right.
Tengo que salvar al
You
otro.
stay away from my.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Espérate, puedo congelar las estatuas. No, yo vi que 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 no. Chale, pensé que sí se podía. Ay, güey.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator and lost?
Ay, güey.
Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening. Yulia? Poor guy. My uncle was a victim at Rheumatism's altar, and he ended up killing himself. All right, let me see.
Este vuelo va a ayudar. Igual Lidia que no está sola. Valerio magistrado conocido por... Preferiría beberme el brebaje especial de Aurelia. Eso es cierto, güey. Crea una paradoja temporal.
Ixion turns. Just but it say that I had he
Pa. Pues nada. Ahora debo hablar con la otra y decirle que adelante las elecciones. Y así este vato termina ganándose a favor de todos. Míralo correr.
Lucretia, no time to explain. I'm supposed to give you this Sylphium resin for Yulia.
What? Quick, give it here. I'm just going to help her swallow this. I think she's going to be all right. Galerius, you're amazing. How did you know?
I was just doing what the new guy told me.
I don't understand. How did... Never mind. Thank you so much for acting as quickly as you did.
Oh, es lo que suena.
Can't stay. Places to be.
Hágale que está haciendo a Rufus.
Salve, Rufius. I hear you've been suffering from rheumatism. Sorry to hear about that, friend.
What? My condition is nobody's business but mine.
There's no need for that. I just wanted to give you this willow bark to help you treat it.
A treatment? Really? Thank God. Finally, some relief after all this time. You're a good man, Galerius.
Appreciate that. Now,
Okay.
I've got to run. Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just
Te digo lo mismo. Pa.
Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing... Oh, now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk. Oh.
Ajá. Me sorprende que todavía no salga esta vieja.
All weapons are to be tossed into the chasm. Magistrate's orders.
¿Qué pasa si ahora hablo con el magistrado?
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am.
Sí.
Yeah. Is that about... Ah, look, it's unfortunate, but all... No.
Sí.
I think it's best if I... You mean to ask, why am I unwilling to trust a newly arrived I'm sorry, but that is... Yes, our water supply. From you. I wasn't born yesterday. Aeneas the Tactician wrote a siegecraft manual for military commanders some 300 years ago, recommending the poisoning or and I'm beginning to wonder if the culprit we're looking for might, after all this, be you. Perhaps it was a mistake on my... I'm glad to hear that. Now, was there something else? Ask. Good. Thank you. I'll... Don't be so foolish. If you kill me, we all die. Allow me to explain. When I discovered the ritual to Proserpina, the instructions came with a... The crux of it is this. If you do anything to change the course of history in such a way that your very being... To illustrate, when the Golden Rule is broken, I will... If you manage to succeed in saving our lives, then I will have no reason to open the doorway. The same thing would happen if you, say, inadvertently, allowed me to die. If I can't summon you, if either of those things were to happen, I am given to understand you would be flung back to your original time.
Si te mato, moriría todo el mundo y yo volvería a mi línea del tiempo original.
Indeed. Thank you. I'll be waiting here.
Oh, lo tienen bien pensado, güey.
Oh, another one fresh out of the bath.
Ay, güey.
On your best behavior, I trust?
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
¿Dónde está la...? Consigue las 4 placas robadas. ¿Ya no encuentro a la chica? Vamos por las flechas. Hola, señor ladrón. Pienso que se habrán llevado a cabo las elecciones y este güey fue lo que la...
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted. Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without... Look, if I had a Roman plaque in my possession, I'd be happy to sell it. Ha! You fool.
Uy, me asustó. Aguántame.
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little stirkers? If I cop an earful from Malleolus, I'll be done.
Aquí voy a dejarlo de el video porque tengo que hacer unas cosas ahorita, así que nos veremos mientras voy a tratar de avanzar un poco detrás de cámaras y ya pues a ver qué show. Así que ahí nos vemos. Hasta el siguiente capítulo.